Hey everyone! Before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button to join my channel and stay updated with more content like this. I'm Sophia Lane, and I'm 32 years old. For years, I thought I'd constructed a sturdy life, steady job, true friends, and a fiancé who I believe viewed me as his partner. His name was Nathan, 28. For 2 years, I wore the engagement ring he slid onto my finger, treating it like an unbreakable vow. That dream crumbled on a random Tuesday evening. I got home earlier than expected, carrying takeout from Nathan's favorite Thai spot, hoping to surprise him. Instead, I froze in the hallway, hearing his laughter spill from the living room. It wasn't warm or genuine. It had a sharp, showy edge, like he was performing for someone. On our TV screen, Nathan was on a video call with 3 of his best buddies. At the heart of the group was Derek, his best man, lounging with that cocky smirk I'd always disliked. Nathan held up my hand, the ring glinting under the light, like he was displaying a trophy. Derek's voice came through, slick and taunting. "Dude, you struck gold, Nate. For real." Then Nathan let out a deep, boastful chuckle, a sound that didn't match the man I thought I loved. He tilted his head and said words that gutted me. "Come on, it's just a deal. Her cash, my charm. Fair exchange, right?" The group burst into laughter. For a second, it felt like the room had no oxygen. My chest tightened, but tears didn't come. Oddly, I wasn't furious, not yet. A cold, piercing clarity settled over me, chilling me to my core. I didn't barge in or yell. Instead, I slipped quietly into my office, closed the door, and pulled up the camera feed from our smart TV. There he was, still soaking up their praise. My hand stayed steady, my heartbeat even. I sent him one text, "Nathan, your mic's on." On the screen, I saw the moment he read it. His face went pale, his smug grin crumbling into stunned panic. He stammered an excuse about his mom calling and shut down the call. Minutes later, a knock came at my office door. "Sophia, babe, you won't believe the dumb thing Derek just said," he said, his voice shaky, practiced. I didn't respond. I turned my chair, phone in hand, and when he peeked inside, I held up the screen. It showed a confirmation email, wedding venue canceled. His forced smile vanished. He opened his mouth, but before he could speak, his phone pinged with a fraud alert. His credit card was declined. He whispered, stunned, "That's impossible. You sent the money this morning." I replied calmly, I did. Then I took it back. Call it a smart move. That was the first step. The venue was gone, the ring payments already paused. I wasn't out to ruin Nathan in a blaze of anger. This wasn't vengeance, it was about reclaiming what was mine, step by step, and I was just getting started. The next morning, Nathan acted like nothing had happened. He brewed coffee, humming in the kitchen as if his world hadn't just cracked open. But I could sense the strain beneath his calm, every move a bit too calculated. When I walked in, he flashed a grin. "Soph, come on. You know Derek. He loves stirring things up." I was just joking around. I set my mug down slowly, letting the silence grow heavy. "Joking," I said flatly. "By turning me into a walking ATM?" His grin faltered. "You're twisting it." "You always." He stopped himself, then leaned in, eyes pleading. "You know I love you. I was just trying to look cool for the guys." His words slid off me. I was done chasing his sincerity. I'd spent the night mapping out my next steps. One by one, I was severing the ties. The venue was already canceled, the ring payment stopped, and the beauty of it? The ring wasn't his until it was fully paid, so it still belonged to the jeweler. Nathan thought I'd be too ashamed to unravel our plans, but everything was in my name. Contracts, deposits, timelines. When I opened the paperwork on my laptop, I felt no guilt, only freedom. Nathan finally dropped the act, his voice turning sharp. "You can't just erase everything. You think you're hurting me? You're making yourself look desperate. Everyone will see you overreacted to a dumb joke." There it was, the shift from "I'm sorry" to "you're unhinged." I'd seen it before in smaller fights, how he'd twist things until I doubted myself. This time it didn't work. I looked at him and said, "No, Nathan. Everyone's going to hear exactly what you said, and you'll hate your own words more than I ever could." His jaw clenched. He mumbled something about meeting Derek for drinks later. The irony wasn't lost on me. He was running back to the guy who'd spurred him on. That night, alone in the apartment, the quiet enveloped me. My phone buzzed with messages, first Nathan, then Derek, then mutual friends tossing out weak excuses or subtle jabs about me being too serious, too intense. I didn't reply. Instead, I started gathering evidence, screenshots of bank transfers, receipts, emails about loans, gifts, deposits. Cold, hard facts, organized and undeniable. I knew what was coming. Nathan wouldn't own up. He'd spin a tale, painting himself as the victim and me as the irrational, spiteful woman who couldn't take a joke. I'd be ready when he did. It didn't take long for Nathan's counterstrike. 2 days after I canceled the venue, my phone lit up with notifications, group chats I barely knew existed, buzzing with screenshots and sly digs about me being controlling, cold, impossible. Derek was at the center, his influence clear. He always loved stirring the pot, and now he'd named it Support for Nathan. 15 people were added, mutual friends, old college pals, even Nathan's cousin. The messages were a smear campaign. Nathan was the poor guy suffering because his fiancé lost it over a harmless comment. One message from Derek stung, typical Sophia. Everything's got to be her way. Nate deserves better than being nagged like a child. I stared at the screen, jaw tight. Once, I'd have jumped to defend myself, typing out long explanations. Not now. I wasn't here to wrestle in their mess. Instead, I made 2 moves. First, I saved everything. Derek's words, Nathan's subtle jabs, even the comments where people piled on. Evidence neatly stored. Second, I chose my confidants, my closest friends, Mia and Claire. They'd been with me for years, sharp enough to spot manipulation from miles away. That evening, they came over. I didn't vent or cry. I showed them a 15-second clip from the living room camera. No sound, just Nathan's face when he read my text, his confidence shattering, panic flooding in. Mia gasped, hand over her mouth. That's not the face of a guy who was joking. Claire shook her head. You don't need to explain yourself, Sophia. The truth's all over him. Something eased in me. They didn't just believe me, they saw what I saw. Meanwhile, Nathan doubled down. He called, his tone swinging from apologetic to furious. You're making me look like an idiot, he snapped one night. Canceling the wedding doesn't make you strong. It makes you pitiful. Everyone sees who you really are now. I didn't respond. I'd learned something Nathan never would. Noise fades, but facts last. I was just starting to stack mine. My first move was an email to Nathan, no emotion, just precision. Subject, return of unpaid engagement ring. Nathan, per our last discussion, I'm requesting the return of the custom engagement ring, details attached, to the jeweler. The financing plan has been canceled, leaving a $19,250 balance. Until paid, the ring remains the jeweler's property. Please return it within 10 business days, or the jeweler may take action. I sign it simply, Sophia. I attach the contract, my name alone, and the jeweler's financing terms for good measure. Next, I built a spreadsheet of every financial transfer to Nathan over the past year. Rent help, credit card payments, the $6,500 loan for his car. Each entry was labeled, sourced, and backed up, including emails where Nathan called the car payment a loan. I sent that too. Subject, financial records for your review. No feelings, just facts. Nathan didn't reply directly, but his anger flared elsewhere. Derek, ever the instigator, escalated things. One morning, I found a 1-star review on my company's Facebook page, clearly from Derek. It didn't name me, but the words were pointed. This business mirrors its leader. Manipulative, unethical, built on lies. Vague but personal. I didn't confront him. Instead, I took a screenshot and emailed my HR department. Subject, harassment from personal acquaintance. I'm reporting a defamatory review left by an acquaintance retaliating over a personal, non-work issue. Attached are the review and related group messages. Please document this for company records and legal protection. I hit send. Then Derek's recklessness jogged a memory. Nathan once mentioned, half drunk, that Derek's apartment was a mess, boxes of knockoff shoes and bags he sold online, stacked to the ceiling, reeking of glue. I'd laughed it off then. Now it was useful. I checked Derek's public profile. There they were, photos of him posing with fake designer goods, boxes piled high, his apartment building sign visible in the background. His own proof. I found his property management's website and their report a lease violation link. I filled it out carefully, boxes blocking exits, possible fire code issues, signs of an unregistered business. No lies, just facts. When I submitted it, a calm settled over me. This wasn't revenge, it was balance. Nathan and Derek had built their world on arrogance. All I did was step back and let it fall. Within a week, cracks appeared. The jeweler, copied on my email, moved fast, demanding Nathan pay the $19,250 or return the ring. He tried arguing it was a gift, but contracts don't bend for feelings. They gave him 10 days. His credit was already crumbling. Without my transfers, his card kept declining. The laptop purchase that triggered his fraud alert was just the start. He couldn't refinance, borrow, or bluff anymore. I'd quietly propped him up for years. Extra cash here, a bill paid there, loans he swore he'd repay after the wedding. Without me, his fragility was exposed. Nathan wasn't secure, he was reliant, and his world was collapsing. Derek's arrogance faded too. My company's HR sent him a cease and desist letter. Formal, heavy with terms like defamation and legal action. The support for Nathan chat went silent. No one wanted to touch Derek's mess. But the real shift came from elsewhere. Mia and Claire quietly talked to others in the chat, not sharing screenshots, just describing Nathan's face in that clip. That wasn't a joke, Mia told someone on the fence. You should have seen him, he looked guilty. Slowly, Nathan's support faded. The chat stopped buzzing, the heart emojis disappeared. Nathan felt it. One night, he showed up at my apartment, banging on the door, his voice swinging from desperate to angry. Sophia, please, we can fix this. Don't throw away 3 years over one stupid comment. You're destroying my life. I stayed on my couch, unmoving. I listened as he begged, shouted, cried, until his voice broke and he left. When he was gone, I exhaled. My hands were steady, my heart calm. This wasn't vengeance or fury, it was consequence. The tide was turning not in chaos, but in quiet shifts back to where it belonged, in my control. By month's end, Nathan was trapped. The jeweler's deadline loomed, his credit was ruined, his friends silent, the group chat a ghost town. He tried one last move, texting, I'm coming over. I'll give you the ring. And the piece of my soul you think you took. Dramatic, as expected. He wanted a showdown, a chance to play victim again. I didn't give it to him. When he knocked, I called the concierge. I'm expecting a delivery, I said calmly. Please hold it at the desk. 20 minutes later, a text confirmed a small box had arrived. I didn't touch it. The next morning, a courier took it to the jeweler. The debt was settled, the ring gone. Nathan's text erupted, you coward. You ruined my life over a joke. You'll regret this when no one believes you. I muted him. Silence felt like power. Meanwhile, Derek's world fell apart. The property management acted on my report, finding exactly what I described, boxes blocking hallways, counterfeit goods everywhere. A fire hazard and a lease violation. They gave him 30 days to fix it or leave. He couldn't undo his illegal business that fast, and with the cease and desist looming, he didn't fight back. Within weeks, Derek vanished from social media. His business, influence, and voice gone. Nathan lost his stage, his allies, and the ring. All that remained was his anger, echoing alone. 3 months later, the storm had settled, not with a bang, but with the quiet hum of consequences unfolding. Nathan moved back with his parents, 2 hours away. The jeweler reclaimed the ring. The car loan was in small claims court, and his credit was beyond repair. I heard he was trying to start over, but you can't rebuild without facing your mess. Derek was gone entirely, his online presence erased, his business dismantled, his name unspoken. The group chat faded without fanfare. Some unfriended me quietly, others lingered awkwardly, pretending nothing happened. But Mia and Claire stayed, The kind of friends who don't need explanations, who measure loyalty by truth. It wasn't easy. Some nights, the silence weighed heavy, and I'd stare at the ceiling, wondering how I missed the signs. I grieved not for Nathan, but for the future I thought we'd share. The wedding that wouldn't happen, the home we'd never build, the kids we'd dreamed of. It hurt, not because of the money or lies, but because he'd reduced our life to a transaction. My wealth, his looks a deal. But grief has its own pace, and mine gave way to clarity. I wasn't the villain in his story, no matter how loudly he or Derek tried to spin it. I was the woman who stepped back and let the truth unfold. I didn't break their world. I just stopped holding it up. Now my life is calmer. I share dinners with Mia and Claire, laughing at silly memes we send late at night. I dive into work not to hide, but because it fulfills me. I wake up without dread, without the nagging sense someone's taking from me while smiling. I don't know what Nathan says about me now. Maybe I'm still the cold, vengeful woman who ruined his life. Maybe Derek tells his own tale somewhere in the shadows. Let them. Their stories don't define me.